At 11 a.m. June 15, 1992, His Holiness the 17th Karmapa, Urgen Drodol Tinli Dorje, arrived in full glory at Tsurphu Monastery, his original main seat in Tibet. The Karmapa, the head of the Karmakarju lineage, is one of the greatest incarnating masters. He is said to be the embodiment of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times and 10 directions. The arrival celebrated the Karmapa's 33-year-long awaited return to his golden Dharma throne at Tsurphu. Thousands of people came to witness this elaborate welcome ceremony, to receive Karmapa's blessings and to honor him. Monks performed several Lama dances and brought all kinds of precious offerings, for example the symbolic snow lion milk in this scene. Karmapa is destined to become the 6th Buddha in the Aeon of 1,000 Buddhas. The treasure revealer Nyadak Nyang said, "Each moment he will guide countless sentient beings. Whoever sees, hears of, thinks of him, or is touched by him will be born in the presence of the Buddha after that life." A unique characteristic of the Karmapas is their ability to see their future rebirths clearly and to leave a prediction letter before they pass away with the exact described circumstances of the following birth. In the 8th century, Buddhism was brought from India to Tibet by Guru Rinpoche. He predicted 21 Karmapas to incarnate in human form, but generally it is said that until the end of the teachings of 1,000 victorious ones, the string of the Karmapas, the tamer of beings, will not be broken. When the first Karmapa, Dusum Khenpa, obtained enlightenment, it was symbolized in the visionary offerings of the Dakinis, a black Vajra crown woven of their hair. The crown is said to be symbolically present above the heads of all the Karmapa incarnations, signifying their realization of the true nature of reality. Later, one of the Chinese emperors offered a physical replica of this crown to the 5th Karmapa in the early 15th century. Still today, the Karmapas perform the black crown ceremony with this replica to relieve the suffering of all beings. We witness His Holiness the 16th Karmapa during this ceremony in Boulder, Colorado. Born in Tibet in 1924, he was a highly realized and charismatic figure and had a large following overseas. His activity was vast, spreading the teachings of the Buddha throughout the world, especially in the West, until he passed away in 1981. On the day of his arrival, Karmapa blessed thousands of people. Tsurphu Monastery was founded in the 12th century by the first Karmapa. He saw Tsurphu to be the mandala of Chakrasamvara, the celestial mandala of enlightened mind. Being one of the oldest monasteries in Tibet, Tsurphu once housed 900 monks and supported 4 major colleges. It was also the seat of the Goshir Gyaltsab Rinpoches, the Vajra regents for the Karmapas. In square footage, Tsurphu is the same size as the Great Potala, the previous home of the Dalai Lamas. It resides at an altitude of 4,600 meters. Guru Padmasambhava predicted in the 8th century that Tsurphu Monastery would be the center of the activities of all 21 Karmapas. Another prediction reads that although Tsurphu will be destroyed and rebuilt many times, this monastery will be in existence until the end of this world. Tsurphu Monastery is a 2-hour drive from Lhasa, the capital of Tibet. Karmapa's birthplace is located in Kham, eastern Tibet, near Latok. The journey from Lhasa takes around 5 days by jeep and 1 day by horse. Rumtek, the Karmapa's main seat in exile, is located near Gantok, the capital of Sikkim in India. One of the head Tsurphu Monastery officials is Lama Lodro. Here he tells us that on January 1981, the 16th Gyalwa Karmapa gave to Tai Situ Rinpoche a protection amulet with a brocade cover and said, "This is your protection amulet. In the future it will confer great benefit." In this amulet, Situ Rinpoche found the letter of prediction about the Karmapa's future rebirth. Here is a copy of that original letter. It reads, "Ema ho, self-awareness is always bliss. The Dharmadhatu has no center nor edge. From here to the north, in the east of the land of snow, is a country where divine thunder spontaneously blazes. In a beautiful nomad's place, with the sign of a cow, the method is Dundrup and the wisdom is Loga. Born in the year of the one used for the earth, with the miraculous far-reaching sound of the White One. This is the one known as Karmapa. He is sustained by Lord Dunya Drupa. Being non-sectarian, he pervades all directions. Not staying close to some and distant from others, he is the protector of all beings. The sun of the Buddhist Dharma that benefits others always blazes." His Holiness the 17th Gyalwa Karmapa was born on the 8th day of the 5th Tibetan month, year of the wood ox, June 26, 1985, in Latok, located in a nomad community of Barkor, eastern Tibet. His father is Karma Dundrup and his mother is Loga. Just before the sun rose, he was born without any difficulties. In the afternoon of the 3rd day after his birth, the wide-ranging sound of a conch shell resonated for about 1 hour. For another half hour, the tone of various musical instruments were clearly heard by all people in the nomad community. This resounding of conch shell on the sky and on the earth was a wondrous event. Before the Karmapa was born, a beautiful bird, rarely seen in Tibet, landed on the roof of the family's tent and sang a lovely song. At another time, a rainbow appeared over the tent. In this way, many wondrous signs appeared. led all the people of the area to believe that this child was special. When he was 4 years old, Amdo Palden Rinpoche from Kalik Monastery invited the Karmapa to come there, and subsequently he began his studies. Knowing that he was gifted, they set up a special throne for him at Kalik Monastery. The Karmapa possesses great qualities within his physical form, great compassion within his mind, and the knowledge of past and future times. On June 27th, 40 Tibetan officials arrived at Tsurphu to acknowledge that this child, born in Tibet, is the true reincarnation of the previous Gyalwa Karmapa. He is the first Tuku to be officially accepted by the Beijing government. On June 30th, 1992, His Holiness the Dalai Lama offered his final confirmation of the Karmapa's reincarnation, as it has been traditional throughout the centuries. In spring of 1992, he reported that he had a vision during which he was in a high place that was green, without trees, and was very beautiful. The mountains were not so high from the valley floor, and there were 2 streams flowing on either side, right and left. He did not see any people or animals, but heard the sound Karmapa in the air. As he awoke from this sacred vision, His Holiness said he felt very, very happy. Later, when the search party for the 17th Karmapa came to Barkor, the nomad area where he was born and where his family was staying, this is exactly what they found. Green meadowed mountains with no trees, sparsely populated, and 2 streams flowing down either side of the valley. These are Karmapa's parents, his father Dundrup and his mother Loga. His father relates to us, "First we had a son 21 years ago, and then 6 daughters. We really wanted to have another son, so we asked Drupal Karma Norbu, who promised to pray to the 3 jewels for us, and asked my wife to pray 100,000 refuge prayers. We also asked Amdo Palden Rinpoche, who promised to pray to the Buddhas of all times and directions, but asked us in return to offer our son to the monastery at his birth, which we did. We also prayed in Lhasa, in the Jokang, to the Jo of Tibet. That was in 1978. In 1985, we finally had our son." His mother tells us,
"During the pregnancy, 3 white cranes came to me in a dream, offering me a big bowl of yogurt, a good sign, because yogurt is seen as something very pure, and also a letter stating, 'This is your son's recognition letter. Please keep this information as a secret until the right time will come.' The letter looked remarkable, clean and bright. I promised the birds to keep the secret, but I asked them who sent the message, and they answered, 'Guru Rinpoche sent us to you.'"
Sewang Rinzin, Karmapa's younger brother viewed here, was recognized as a Tuku of the previous Chulek Rinpoche by Dorzum Rinpoche at Kampa Monastery, near the birthplace of Karmapa. This is His Holiness Karmapa's elder brother, Yeshe Rabsal. He also had an auspicious dream before the Karmapa was born. He found a conch shell, which he gave to Amdo Palden Rinpoche, who then replied, "Your mother will have a very special son." That evening, when he came home, his mother had just given birth to His Holiness. The father of Karmapa's mother also received a foretelling dream. He dreamt that he went to the parents' home, which was full of light, and the chariot on the top of it was not made out of wood, but of gold. The grandfather asked the mother where she got it, and she told him, "Guru Rinpoche gave it to me." Karma Munlam Yumso is the youngest of the Karmapa's 6 sisters. On June 29, 1992, Tsurphu celebrated their annual traditional Lama dances, honoring the protector deity of the Karma Karju lineage, Mahakala Bernat Chen, who is also the guardian of Tsurphu Monastery. Lama Tomo, viewed here, is one of the main monastery officials. He guided the search party when Karmapa was escorted from Kham. These mass dances were created from a vision of the 6th Karmapa, Tongwa Dunden. This vision was transmitted to him from the great protector Mahakala Bernat Chen. This year, the joy and excitement was profoundly increased due to the presence of His Holiness the 17th Karmapa. Thousands of people showed up for this splendid occasion. It is said, to have the good fortune of seeing these dances is a great blessing. In rituals such as this, negative energy, such as forms of ego clinging and obstacles, are transmuted and purified through the destruction of artificially created rudras or turmas made out of sampa. When Karmapa first took residence at Tsurphu, word of his arrival spread quickly. He blessed a continuous stream of pilgrims from his window at 2 p.m. daily. Now he has settled into a somewhat normal routine of daily blessings. In his audience room upstairs, right above the main shrine room, he continues to bless foreigners and pilgrims still at 2 p.m. Since the 12th century, all the Karmapas have made the great circumambulation walk around the monastery. This walk is rich in sacred sites that leads high into the mountains above the monastery. There are many caves that the previous Karmapas and other realized masters have meditated in. It leads one along paths lined with millions of mani stones carved over the centuries to the upper Norbulinka, where the previous Karmapas enjoyed opera performances and picnics in the summer months. A wonderful, peaceful vibration emanates within its gates. This is Lodro Shera and Umze Tupten Zangpo. They were personal attendants to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa and often traveled abroad with him. In the days of the previous Karmapas, the villagers in the valley often supported the monks and monastery activity, offering a portion of their harvest. As the Karmapas were so well known throughout Tibet, many pilgrims came from all over to receive the Karmapas' blessings at least once in their life. Some offered His Holiness their sons to become monks, trained under skillful instructors. It is said that one who crosses this rock bridge with a 1,000-foot drop to the valley floor below will have no fear when he enters into the gateways of death. Glorious Turlung Tsurphu, this Oming, highest region of the mind, is a place where an ocean of dakinis gather like clouds. The mountain behind is Tupo Kupa, the pure realm of Chenrezi. On the mountain in front is a vast and dense forest, the place of Jakso Chulwa. The mountain in between is Tushita, the joyful mind, the pure realm of great Maitreya. Let us go to that pure realm where lamas, yidams, and dakinis gather like clouds. Having planted the victory banner of the Buddhist teachings, in the land of Dharma, let us raise in the country of Kailash the sun of happiness and well-being for all people. This is the famous Karmapa cave called Pema Chuzong. Here in the 3-year traditional meditation center, high above the monastery, presently there are 17 monks in retreat. Workers often sing while packing down a roof on a newly finished building. This is the shrine of the protector Palden Lamo. On the 12th of July, Tai Situ Rinpoche and Gosher Gyaltsab Rinpoche, along with their entourage, arrived in Lhasa. The representative for Gyaltsab Rinpoche is Sherab Tarshan, and the king of Derge is to his right. Yeshe Rabsel also is anxiously waiting for the arrival of the two Rinpoches. Both Situ and Gyaltsab Rinpoche are known to have an intimate relationship to the Karmapas over the centuries. In former incarnations they were teachers or disciples to one another. The 10th Karmapa offered one of the former Gyaltsab Rinpoches a monastery of his own above Tsurphu's main temple. Since that time, the Gyaltsab lineage is also referred to as the Tsurphu Gyaltsab Rinpoches. Tai Situ Rinpoche, in his present incarnation, is one of the main teachers responsible for the proper education of the new Karmapa. His Holiness the Dalai Lama said that since His Holiness the Karmapa decided to be born in Tibet, there is a sacred meaning to it, and he gave the advice that everything should be done very properly. Situ and Gyaltsab Rinpoche were formally invited by the regional government authorities to guide the Karmapa through the spiritual ceremonies. As these Rinpoches are quite famous throughout Tibet, many Tibetans were anxiously awaiting when the Rinpoches drove from the airport into Lhasa. At the Tibet Hotel, both were welcomed by Drupal Dachin Rinpoche, the head Lama of Tsurphu Monastery. On the following day, they left for Tsurphu. On the way, they were offered a welcome ceremony nearby Pao Rinpoche's monastery, about a half-hour drive before Tsurphu. Hundreds of Tibetans came to receive a blessing. The celebration at Tsurphu for their joyous arrival was as grand as it was when Karmapa came. The monks again performed Lama dances, offered the 8 auspicious symbols, and other precious substances. The 13th of July marked the first formal meeting that Tai Situ Rinpoche and Tsurphu Gyaltsab Rinpoche had with the new Karmapa incarnation. As Situ Rinpoche will be the main teacher for this Karmapa, and Gyaltsab Rinpoche is the Vajra regent for the Karmapas, historically it was an important and auspicious moment in time. Karmapa, having heard the news of their arrival, was happy to see them both, despite the formalities of the first meeting.
行，你，不行，哎，行，你行，行，行，不行，哎。
On the 1st of August, Karmapa was escorted to Lhasa for the hair-cutting ceremony at the Jokang. The entourage spent the night at the Tibet Hotel. Siddha Rinpoche's attendant, Tenam, receives a personal blessing. Karmapa was then introduced by Siddha Rinpoche to Khenpo Kata Rinpoche, the head lama of his main seat, Karma Triana Dharma Chakra, in Woodstock, New York. He was accompanied by Lama Norla. Before the 16th Karmapa passed away, he told both of them, "My body will remain in America. My consciousness will go to Tibet. Now I can see my father and mother very clearly. Especially I can see all samsara and nirvana so clear as if they are in the palm of my hand." At 3 a.m., August 2nd, His Holiness was escorted to the Jokang, the main temple in Lhasa, for the hair-cutting ceremony. Accompanied by Situ, Gyaltsab, and other high Rinpoches, lamas, and monks, mainly from Tsurphu. It was at the request of Tsurphu Monastery that this elaborate ceremony was conducted by the two major Rinpoches at the Jokang. In accordance with the rites of this sacred event, His Holiness was formally acknowledged as a monk for his future position as the 17th Karmapa. Here we witness the Karmapa prostrating in front of the Jo-o, the holiest statue in all of Tibet. His Eminence Shama Rinpoche once said, "Among all the incarnate teachers and bodhisattvas who voluntarily take birth for the benefit of beings, the most pious, the ultimate one, is the Gyalwa Karmapa. As the Karmapas begin to grow, they definitely manifest the ability of their predecessor." The mandala ritual, which symbolizes the offering of the whole universe with the sacred Mount Meru in its center, initiated the ceremonies. Siddha Rinpoche performed the traditional hair cutting. A small piece of longer hair was left for this purpose on the back of his head. Then the two Rinpoches proclaimed his new complete name as the Karmapa. This name was predicted by Guru Rinpoche found in a terma of Chujor Dechen Lingpa. His Holiness the Dalai Lama entrusted Situ and Gyaltsab Rinpoche with several offerings for His Holiness the 17th Karmapa, a blessing for his long life and his activity, a scarf, a special protection and blessing cord. Very auspicious was the offering from the Dalai Lama of his personal mala. At the completion of the ceremony, all the Rinpoches made their personal offerings to His Holiness, followed by the Lamas and the monks. Karmapa left Lhasa directly following the ceremony to return to Tsurphu.
The former Vajra master of Rumtek Monastery, Tenga Rinpoche, presently the head lama of Benchen Punsok Dagye Ling in Swayambhu, reflects on the 17th Karmapa.
In general, the Karmapa is the embodiment of all the Buddhas, and the lamas are emanations of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Since they are Bodhisattvas, how is it that we, ordinary people, can meet them? This depends on our individual minds. Anyone with faith, belief, and devotion at any time can meet the Karmapa. If you don't have belief or faith within your mind, then you cannot meet him. For example, think of the ocean and the moon. If you have an ocean, then a beautiful moon can be reflected within it. But if there is no ocean, there is no place for the reflection. So some people are able to meet the Karmapa right now, and others are not. It depends on the individual. Sentient beings perceive things in different ways. As for myself, I trust that this is the 17th Karmapa, and am overjoyed that he is enthroned. I wish all my disciples many tashidele. In the words of the great Lord Karmapa himself, this monastery of Tsurphu in the Dao Valley is without an equal in this world of ours. For the one who sees or visits it, or even thinks of it just once, the misdeeds and obscurations of eons will surely be dispelled. His Holiness studies writing and reading daily from 9 to 11 a.m. and from 3 to 6 p.m. He presently has 2 teachers, and recently he has started to study English for half an hour each day. Umze Tupten Zangpo is Karmapa's present reading teacher.
Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche was one of the main teachers of the 16th Karmapa.
Karmapa unifies qualities of all 5 Buddha families, which are Buddha, Karma, Vajra, Ratna, and Padma. Karma means activity, and the Karmapa actually is the one who carries out the activity of all the Buddhas. Since the first Karmapa, Dusum Khenpa, the Karmapas signify this activity, and it is said that those who see him and his black crown inseparable from him, will be protected from a lower rebirth. That's why his Vajra crown is called liberation by sight. Tibet is blessed by Chenrezi, and up to the present 17th incarnation, the Karmapas are emanations of this great Bodhisattva. Through films such as this, those who have faith are enabled to enter the path of liberation, because by seeing Karmapa's face, but for a fraction of a second, the karmic obscurations of 7 rebirths will surely be dispelled. After his morning studies, Karmapa enjoys a recess, although sometimes his free time is interrupted for scheduled interviews. There are 5 small protector shrines in Tsurphu where prayers are offered continuously. Yangtze Rinpoche, a Karjutuku, shows his respects. The night before the enthronement, the monks readied the elaborate ceremonial offerings. Drupal Dechen Rinpoche organized the order of the offerings he and others will give the Karmapa. The morning of the enthronement. It had snowed the night before. The mountain, home of the protector deity, was completely blanketed in snow. This was taken as an extremely auspicious sign that the local divinities were pleased. Approximately 20,000 people came to celebrate the enthronement of His Holiness the 17th Karmapa. Pilgrims' tents were pitched everywhere around the monastery grounds. Trungpa Rinpoche is the abbot of Rumtek, a senior meditation master and venerated scholar. He traveled up from Kathmandu to pay homage. Several foreign visitors arrived the week before to join in the festivities. Representatives from the government of the People's Republic of China and the Tibetan Autonomous Region came in the early morning to hold witness to the enthronement. Alongside Karmapa's parents, we view Tokten Amdo Palden Rinpoche. Karmapa studied under his guidance for the last 4 years as a monk in Kalik Monastery near Latok in Kham. Because of limited space inside the main shrine room, only a few hundred were allowed to participate inside, mainly tulkus, lamas, representatives from the main schools of Tibetan Buddhism, and disciples from Dharma centers abroad. This day, this young monk will become fully empowered as the 17th Gyalwa Karmapa, destined to become one of the greatest living saints of our time. The Chinese section of the ceremony lasted for half an hour, beginning with the announcement from the Beijing government. Lama Lodro initiated this section of the ceremony.
好了，行，行行，哎，这先那个，对了。
The red book offered to the Karmapa by a government representative is the bureaucratic seal of approval of the recognition and enthronement of this child Tsurphu as the reincarnation of the 16th Gyalwa Karmapa. Shortly following, another official expressed his thanks to the Office of Religious Affairs in the name of a representing Rinpoche.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first event which is involved with the presentation of the letter, which is the approval of His Holiness incarnation from the Beijing government. This ceremony is over. Now, the next ceremony, we will perform the traditional Buddhist religious ceremony.
A half-hour respite was accorded between the sections of the enthronement. The spiritual ceremony began at noon. This was an auspicious time because 4 planets aligned in the sign of fire. Situ Rinpoche offered the Karmapa 3 important documents: the sacred prediction letter of the 16th Karmapa, the prophecy of the Nechung Oracle, which was presented to Situ and Gyaltsab Rinpoche in early June 1992 at Dharamsala at the request of the Sikkim government, and the confirmation letter from His Holiness the Dalai Lama entitled the Buktam Rinpoche, which states, "The boy born to Karma Dundrup and Loga in the Wood Ox year 1985 identifies with the prediction letter left by the late Karmapa and is hereby recognized as the reincarnation of the 16th Karmapa, with prayers for his well-being and success of his activities, the Dalai Lama." The refuge prayer was recited together with engendering of bodhicitta and the blessing of the environment. Siddha Rinpoche offers His Holiness the Ngasol, which is the consecration of the recipient with the 8 auspicious ingredients, the 8 auspicious symbols, and the 7 possessions of the universal monarchs. Chujor Lingpa, one of the great masters and seers of Buddhism in Tibet, lived during the time of the 14th Karmapa in the early 19th century. His predictions about the following 15th and 16th Karmapa were precise and remarkably accurate. In describing the visions of the 17th Karmapa, Chujor Lingpa said, "There are rocky mountains, and at the base of a tree is the 17th Karmapa, together with Tai Situ Rinpoche. Their minds are blended together as one. This is a sign that the leaves and the petals of the Buddhist teachings will disseminate widely, and the fruit of the essence of the Karju lineage will be plentiful." Adi Rinpoche, a high Karju Lama from Kham, presents a short teaching on body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities, followed by Khenpo Dunyer Lodro of Kala Rinpoche's monastery in Sonata, India, who spoke on the Manjushri prayer. The seven-line prayer was chanted by all present before Gyaltsab Rinpoche began his talk about the 5 auspicious conditions: the time, the place, the Lord, the follower, and the Dharma. He also recited a detailed explanation of the mandala offering, which he is performing. At last, Situ Rinpoche, followed by Gyaltsab Rinpoche, presented the Karmapa, the symbolic offerings of body, speech, and mind. Thousands of precious devotional gifts were offered to the 17th Karmapa after the closing rituals. Two days later, His Holiness gave his first historic empowerment, the initiation of the standing red Chenrezi, Korwa Dundrup. Naturally arising Dharmakaya, indivisible and permanent, you manifest in the form kayas of magical illusion. With your body, speech, and mind stable in their Vajra nature, Karmapa, may your boundless, spontaneous activity flourish everywhere. With the first moment of self-awareness comes freedom from the net of the three realms. Let us bring the vast universe into joy that is called peace. From the expanse of the inexpressible nada came this joyous song. Let us join in a happy dance, graced with a melody of delight.